6th of September, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
And Masiv is a single person conjugation of challenge. So Masiv Rabba, and we go to Alan to start off the reading. Masiv Rabba.
Okay, Masiv Rabba. Rabba challenged this ruling from the following brisa. Hikohu al no simor. If a master struck his slave upon his eye and blinded it, al or no, or no, the show, or upon his ear and deafened him. Eved Yotze for hen Rus, the slave goes free on account of these actions. If, however, a master struck a wall, his eye, and the slave no longer sees, Keneged or Zano, no Shomea, or opposite here, and he no longer hears, Ein Eved Yotze, or Hen, or Rus, the slave does not go free on account of his actions. Now it is evident from the Brice's first ruling that causing an organ to cease functioning constitutes actual damage, even though the organ remains physically intact. Similarly, hammering and effacing the image on a coin should also constitute actual damage, even though the coin remains physically intact.
Okay, let's go to Rashi. Rashi, Dibra Maskil al Ozno Bechirshu. Can be found towards the bottom of the page.
Right. Al Ozno Bechirshu, hit him on his ear and he deafened him. We see Afal even though the low Chasre, even though nothing is missing, Kevin, since the Asa Maise Begufo, because he did an act in his body, Lav Grama, it's not considered Kachshiv, it's not considered like a grama right to him. Ella rather, Mamash, it's a physical thing that he did to him. Here Nami also Kevin the Mechia the Kunsa. The Konseya, that's hitting with the hammer or something like that.
Right.
Because he hit with the hammer, Pachatya, and now he lessened his hearing. The Al Kacha on this, Chasru, it's lacking, dumbing, it's lacking the blood, dumbing the value, Lamasahu, of an action.
Okay, so Rashi, a little bit tricky over here, a little bit tricky. The Dibra Mas, I'll tell you why. The Rashi Dibra Maskil, what he first starts discussing over here is the case where he hits on the organ, on the ear itself, and causes him to be a cherish, which means that he cannot hear anymore. So Rashi says Alma. So we see from that case that in the Brisa that the Rava is bringing over here, what do we see? Afugab the lo chasre, even though he didn't. We're comparing it to the coin. We're comparing the case of the coin and to the case of the body of the Eved. So Rashi says like this. Afugab de lo chasre, even though he did not cause any actual physical loss to the body. He's still got his hands, he's still got his eyes, he's still got his ears. You look at the ears, you wouldn't be able to tell that they can't hear, right? So nothing was taken away from the ear. So maybe you'll want to say that it's a grama, that he caused him to not be able to hear through a grama. But Rashi says, no, not in this case. It's not called a grama. Lav grama. Since he did an act on the goof of the Eved, namely right on the ear, that's not called a grama, even if you can't see that there's anything missing from the ear. That's called mamish. That's called damaging him, a direct hit. That's what that's called, a direct hit. And for damage that's caused by a direct hit, you got to pay. That's called mamish. Now Rashi moves over to the case of the coin. How does this compare to our case of the coin? And remember, we have two dinim that the Gemora said. Gemora said, if you deface the coin through a hammer, you're not causing any lack of silver to be taken away from the coin, so therefore we said that it's a grama. The ikar value of the coin is based upon the amount of silver that it has, and it was regarded as a grama that now you cannot use it in the shuk because of the defacing of the coin. But if you had a file and you shaved off the face of the coin, and therefore caused a loss of the actual silver that remains in the coin, then you would be chayav in that case. That would be called gezel. That would be called doing an act, a direct hit to the coin and causing the coin to have less silver. That would definitely be chayav. So now, what's the kasha that we're asking from this case? Rashi says, "V'hacha," over here, hachanami. In this case, with the coin as well. Kevin the mechaye b'kornes, since he gave a smack with the kornes is the hammer. Upachte. Pachte, he, I guess, faced it.
What?
What?
I didn't hear that word you said.
This word that Rashi uses, upachte.
Yes.
Machia bekornes upachte. Now, right? Truth to be told, this word comes from the word pachot, right? Pei ches taf is pachot, which generally means you made it less. But here, that's not what it means, because we're talking about he hit it with the hammer, and he didn't make it any less when he hit it with the hammer. There's no less silver, but we got to say that this is referring to the defacing of the coin. And now the next word over here, there's a note about this word. There's a mistake over here, according to the commentators. It should read be al korchach. Al korchach, perforce. One must say chasro damim.
The reduced value.
Sorry, where's the mistake? In the Gemara?
No, in the Rashi. The Rashi says, the words of the Rashi are bi'al kacha. But that word kacha has to be changed to the word al korchach, which means perforce. And perforce, chasro damim. Ma'asahu. So this is the question that, right? We see from over here that the way Rashi's explaining the Gemara is that the challenge that Rava is saying is he's challenging the din of the hammer case. According to Rabbah, the case of the hammer case is pater. It's a grama. According to the way that Rava understands, based upon the din of the case of the hitting of the Eved, Rava is saying that also the case of Kornas should be comparable to the case of hitting the Eved right on the ear. Just like that case is regarded as being a case of direct hit, and it's not called a grama, so too, says Rava, the case of hitting the coin, a direct hit on the coin, even though it's with a hammer, it's a direct hit, and it's causing a loss to the coin, that it cannot be used anymore in the shuk, and even if the actual silver content is all there, that's not good enough to make this case called a grama. It should be comparable to the case of the master who hits his eved directly on the ear. And even though we cannot see any actual damage to the ear, we cannot see that the ear, a part of the ear has been removed. We cannot see any actual damage on the ear, but we know that he can't hear anymore. And like that, Rava is saying that's the same thing that's happening over here when he uses the hammer and he hits the coin. What's happening? He's doing a direct hit onto the coin, and like that, even though the coin is, it's true that the silver is still there, but he is causing a lack because you can't see the face, you can't see the tzura of the melech on the coin anymore, and it's even a worse case really than the case of the master who hits the eved. You can't see anything on the ear, any damage whatsoever. So therefore, Rav is saying that this case of hitting the coin with the hammer should be regarded as a case of directly causing him a loss of money, and therefore it should be regarded as a masa mamish, and he should be chayev.
Okay. I'm sorry. Could you go back, please? Kacha means should be changed for what?
Korchach
It's spelled how?
is spelled with a chaf,
Yes.
a resh,
Yes.
a ches,
Yes.
and a chaf sofit, and the chaf.
Kochach. Now, kachach means
Kacha, you know what kacha means, right?
no.
When people say lama and then they answer back kacha, everybody knows what that means.
Well, I don't. Kacha means what, enough or what?
Kacha, just like that. That's the way it is,
Oh,
like that. So that's not the. It's clear that that's not the. It's clear that there's a mistake that the printer, the scribe made in the text of Rashi, and so therefore the correct emendation should be al korchach,
kochach meaning
which means perforce.
perforce.
Yes.
Oh. Okay.
He caused a deficiency, and perforce caused in turn perforce caused a loss of money to the owner of this coin. And so who cares that it has the same amount of silver? This is not a lump of silver over here, it's a coin. And a coin you can take to the marketplace and spend it. But like this direct hit that he hit the coin with the hammer and defaced it, and now he can't use it as a coin, that's obviously a direct damage, says Rabbah. So he's disagreeing with Rabbah, who said that case was a case of a grama. And he's adducing support for his assertion from the Brisa with the master who gives a clap on the Eved right on his ear. That case is the Eved is Yotze L'Cheres. He goes free. So just like that's it's not called a grama over there. So too the case of the hammer on the coin is not a grama. Good. Okay. I see Lou is nodding his head, so I see that we're in good shape.
Yeah, I'm in good shape, thank God.
Baruch Hashem. Okay, Roy, good.
Thank you.
Okay. Now the Gemora is going to answer now over here for Rabbah. Don't think that Rabbah got caught and he has to take back what he said. We have an answer for Rabbah. Let's read the answer of Rabbah. Let's go to Roy to read the answer.
The Gemara answers. Rabba Latami follows the opinion expressed elsewhere. Da'amar Rabba, or Rabba said elsewhere, Harasho La'avov Ne'erog, one who makes his father deaf is executed. Shei Afisha Laharisha Pule Chavura, because it is impossible to make someone deaf without inflicting an internal wound. The tapata dodama naflas lay ba'uge, for a drop of blood fell in his ear.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's take a look at the last Rashi. The next Rashi over here, Rabba Latame. Do we want to read?
Hilkach Gabe Avad
Evid,
Nami
an Evid,
Evid Nami Chisron Hu. If I read the parentheses,
Yes, because they're brackets.
Ukeneged Azno Potter Mishum de V'hachi Lo Hayu Lay Le Lemichas V'hai Vadai Grama Hu. Okay, so concerning a slave also, there is a diminution to him. Connected, corresponding to his ear. He's exempt because that here it is not what is this word, michash?
To be worried about or concerned about.
It's not a concern because certainly it's an indirect effect.
Okay.
I thought we were going to say the opposite.
Okay, so what we need to
It began by saying the connected us now against his ear, he's putter. It's talking about the case where
yeah.
it's a grumma thing that he didn't do it in his ear, he did it near his ear.
Oh, it's taking the latter case of the brisa.
Right. So the only thing that we see from this Rashi about our case is the first line that he says, Hilkach gabi eved nami chisaron hu. In other words, what do we see from what Rabbah holds? The Gemora says Rabbah has no problem with this challenge that Rabbah is making over here, because Rabbah himself holds that that in this case, when someone causes someone else to be a cherish that he can't hear anymore, based upon a physical blow that to the person, it's not so like Rashi said originally, that there's nothing missing from the person, there was no actual damage done to the person, and nevertheless he cannot hear. It's not so, because the Rabbah says that there is internal damage, even though you can't see it perhaps on the outside of the ear, but inside the ear there was damage that was done. There was some, he says there was a tipa of dam in a case of it was a wound. It was a wound that happened inside the ear, something to the effect of the blood inside the ear that needs to be in the proper place that it needs to be in was dislodged and fell down out from the place that it's supposed to be, and therefore what? Therefore, this case is this case of causing the Eved to be a cherish involves a case not only of a direct hit, but also of a recognizable wound. And like that, when you have a direct hit to the ear, and also you have a wound, even though you can't see it on the outside, but there is one on the inside, that's a case of what we call a masa b'yadayim, a direct hit causing direct physical damage. And that, of course, is going to be a case of obligation. It's going to be chayav for that. And Rashi says over here, Hilkat gabi eved nami chisaron hu. Therefore, we have to say also in regard to the eved, in the case of the master that hit the eved, and it's not true that there's no chisaron in the ear of the eved. It's not true that there's no deficiency or physical apparent deficiency in the ear of the eved. You just can't see it on the outside, but it's there on the inside. There's a physical wound, inner wound, and therefore that's the reason why Rabbah says in that case there will in fact be the eved will go free. but still, in the case of the hammer hitting the coin, right? In that case, that's not the same thing. There's not anything missing in the there's not anything missing in the coin. If you'll say, well, what's missing is the picture of the Melech. You don't have the picture of the Melech anymore. You don't have the picture of the Melech anymore. That's what I would. That's a bit of a difficulty that I have. You also have a physical damage to the coin itself. The coin has been defaced.
Very much like the ear. You have a drop of blood somewhere inside. You can't see it. You have a missing image. It's not necessarily obvious.
But the image also facilitates the coin's usage.
Right. So does the drop of blood for the ear. It seems to be very parallel.
Well, Rashi, in order to make the question a challenge from Rava, Rashi explained the case of the ear of the Eved as that there was nothing missing in the ear of the Eved. This is what Rashi said. Al ozno v'chirshu, al afo gav delo chasre.
Right.
Even though he caused no physical apparent deficiency in the Eved, kaven de asa masa begufo. Since he did an act on the goof of the Eved, it's not like he just knocked on the wall and the Eved got worried and scared and made himself deaf as a result of the master giving a smack on the wall, which was opposite the Eved's ear. There was no. He made a kaven de osamasa begufo lav grama kachashiv elamamish. And also over here, said Rashi, in the case of the coin, okay, since the kornas, the hammer hit the coin, caused a loss of money. And now we're saying that, but no, according to Rabbah, the reason why the Eved is the reason why there's the Eved goes free in this case where he hit is because not only was there a direct hit to the Eved's ear, but there was also a physical wound inside the ear, which we were assuming before did not exist. There was no chisoron in the ear. And like that, we were comparing that to the case of the coin. There's no physical lack of silver in the coin, and that's its main value. Is the silver in the coin, and this that it won't be accepted now